All right, hello there. We are going. All right, hello there. We are going to get started. I think we're going to have a pretty small group here today, but we do have many people signed up for the recording of this. So I'm really excited to get started here and chat all about the power of protein. And today we're going to be chatting all about how to reach your nutrition goals when it comes to protein. All right, so a little bit about Nourished Roots. If I haven't worked one-on-one with you yet, it's been a while since you've seen me or have heard from me. My name is Allison Tallman. I'm a registered dietitian. I take a whole foods approach when it comes to nutrition, meaning I'm all about real whole foods. I am an evidence-based dietitian, so I'm all about the research. I want whatever we're going to talk about to work for you and have it be research-based, meaning it's going to work, it's proven to work. I'm all about balance, so finding balance within your routine. I'm all about being realistic for your everyday routine in life as well. So instead of saying that we're going to meal prep for 5 hours each day, for example, we have to be realistic with limited time. One of my services that I provide, I do one-on-one sessions with Survivor Fitness clients, which is why I'm here today. If I worked with you before, then it's so good to see you again. So quick thing here, regarding nutrition counseling with Survivor Fitness. So how to get the most out of your sessions. Come with questions. I love when people have questions for me. So come with questions. You can make a list ahead of time. You can, just come and ask me anything about nutrition. Be open to change. So come with the willingness to make changes in your everyday routine. Don't expect to count calories or track macros. That being said, as well, like we do not provide meal plans because meal plans will not work for you. You can definitely ask for like ideas of recipes, but the thing is, we're not going to be outlining a specific meal plan structured around your day because that will not work. I can promise you, you're going to do it for 1 week and then you're going to forget about it. And be ready to set small and realistic goals for yourself. So I want to thank Survivor Fitness for having me today. I'm so excited to get started here. We're going to be chatting all about protein, the functions of protein, needs, sources, importance of it, and then I'll be answering any questions you have. So if you do have any questions, please keep them until the end. Again, I know we only have a few people on the live call today, but if you do have questions and you're watching the recording, you can always email it to me afterwards. So I want people to just reflect here. Do you think you get enough protein in your diet? So thinking about that, like, do you think you get enough protein? And we'll go into ways to get your protein in, as well as ways that, or how to know if you're getting enough or not, but just, a little reflection point to get us started here. Do you get enough protein in your day to day? A lot of people likely don't. Some people maybe do. So thinking of what protein is. So protein is, and I did see someone said, by the way, that they do reach their protein needs every day. So I'm excited to hear that. What is protein? So protein is an energy yielding nutrient. It actually has, it's energy for our body and there's calories in it. And it's our body, we call it our building block because it really is essential to many functions. It builds up our muscles, builds our cells, and it keeps us strong. So you've maybe heard of like amino acids before. Amino acids are what we get in protein, and that helps to build, for example, muscle mass. So we do think of muscle when we think of protein, but I want you to look at this because protein is everywhere in the body. So protein is is half muscle, 50% muscle. It's also in bone. This looks to be about like a little less than a quarter. It's in our skin, and then it's also in blood, in our glands, our nerve tissue, and other places in our body. So it's not just muscle, although obviously, as you can see here, it's primarily muscle, but it's not all muscle. So functions of protein. So some of the functions are to build and maintain muscle mass. So muscles are composed about 80% protein, and skeletal muscle actually accounts for more than half of our body's protein. It's also found in different muscles that we don't really think about when we think of like muscle mass, like this person here, their bicep. and triceps. You can think of it as also being found in things like your heart muscle. Your GI tract is lined by muscle, the arteries, and it makes us strong. It's necessary to make cells in our body. So every cell, our muscle cells, our organs, our skin, our hair. Our body also uses protein to make hormones, enzymes, and antibodies. So as you can tell here, like very crucial components of our everyday living. Provides energy. As I mentioned, it is a source of energy. There are calories found in protein. So if we only ate protein all day, which I do not recommend, but like if fat and carbs were lacking, our body would therefore use protein as an energy source. Now, I'm not recommending that, but I do want to point out that there is some energy found in protein sources. It helps with immunity. So as I mentioned, it helps to create antibodies, and therefore a lack of protein impairs our immune system and therefore our ability to fight off diseases. So I want you to think about this, closely here, because if we're not getting enough protein in our diet, you're likely going to be getting sick more frequently. And this is also really important for anybody, who has had a history of cancer or is in cancer remission. If you're immunocompromised, we want to make sure we're building up your immunity and therefore eating enough protein. So our protein needs depend on a variety of factors. Typically, most people need about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, but some populations need more. And we'll go over how to calculate this in a second. So I typically recommend about like 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So for example, I want you, if you're watching this on the live, on the recording, taking your weight in pounds. So if you weigh about 150 pounds, I want you to divide that by 2.2, about 68 kilograms. And the factor we're going to use here is the 1.2. 68 times 1.2 is about 82 grams of protein per day. I know listing off a lot of numbers can be confusing, so I just want to leave this up for a second here. You can always go back and try and calculate it yourself as well. And here are examples of protein. So if you think of like steak, for example, this is a serving of steak. We also have like edamame beans, kidney beans, quinoa, peanut butter, things like that. So
how many grams was it again if you're like at 150 that you said per day?
82.
82. Okay, so just the steak alone would almost take care of that?
Yes, but
Okay.
I'm not recommending to eat steak, every day.
Right. I understand that. Yes. I just wanted to make sure I had the right number in mind when I was looking at it.
Yep, exactly. So protein needs do vary per individual. So I know that all of you, you have loved ones, whether it be a spouse, whether it be your parents, your kids. In general, proteins needs increase as we age. Especially we need to focus on our lean body mass. It also increases for those of you who are physically active. So if anyone is active in the program doing personal training and strength training, you do need a good protein because you're using your muscles a lot. If anybody is ever, undergoing treatment here, such as chemo radiation, you really need to make sure your cells and muscles are strong. So those would also increase your needs. And those who have undergone any type of treatment, like cancer treatment, they do need more protein to repair the damaged muscles and tissue cells. And I know that you have been through so many different changes, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the things. So focusing on something that's in your control, like protein, can be really beneficial. Now, one thing to think about though, remember, we're not counting our calories here. We're not counting our protein. I just think it is important to know, generally how much you might need. And this exercise was to serve as a guide. I don't recommend counting it daily. Just aim to have protein at every meal and most snacks. So as I mentioned, like there are some signs of inadequate protein intake. If you have low energy, if you have a loss of muscle mass, If you have impaired immune function, so if you're getting sick really frequently, if you're constantly hungry, you never feel satisfied, if you have a lot of like different cravings, and if you have mood swings or you're like irritable, those are all signs of inadequate protein intake. And going into like food sources, as you can see, we have another steak here. So thinking of both animal and plant-based sources, there's definitely things to consider like availability, cost, health concerns, food preferences, religious beliefs, and environment. So there are many reasons why people may choose plant-based over meat. Environmental factors and sustainability, religious reasons. During Lent, people like avoiding meat or meat on Fridays, or Jewish people avoiding like pork, for example. It can actually be cheaper to eat plant-based a lot of the time. I bought a can of chickpeas yesterday and it was like 80 cents. And that's numerous sources of protein. I think it's like 2 servings. And versus if I had purchased like salmon for my husband and I buy like fresh salmon at the grocery store. That would be about $15. And I do love that salmon, but it can be a lot cheaper sometimes to buy plant-based options. And then health concerns is another one. So as I mentioned, I don't recommend eating red meat every day. Red meat, has been shown to increase risk of stomach cancer, for example. And in general, like I will eat meat, but I don't recommend eating red meat every day, really limiting it to like once a month, once a week, whatever is doable for you. So animal sources is an easy way to get your protein in. Being transparent, it's very easy to meet your protein needs if you are someone who eats animal. I do recommend keeping it lean. So doing things like at the opposite end of this, such as like turkey, chicken, or fish. One thing to think about is that the average American consumes 200 pounds of meat annually. 1 pound of chicken, for example, is 120 grams of protein. Now, if you are a big meat eater, this is not to make you go vegetarian or anything like that. I think just in general, we can be a little more knowledgeable on how to reduce meat intake and have a little more plant-based, because those who eat more plants are eating more fiber, more antioxidants, and a little variety of nutrients. And animal sources, they are higher in saturated fat, they're low in fiber. They do have a lot of iron for those who are anemic, and it can be more expensive. Versus things like plant-based sources, we have nuts and grains. We have like lentils, chickpeas, black beans. Soy is a big question I get a lot. And as cancer survivors, thinking of soy, you can eat soy. I don't recommend eating soy like tofu for every single meal, but you can eat soy. That's a misconception. That was actually from the 80s. Research shows that it is safe to eat soy and it will not increase risk of breast cancer. Veggies actually also have some minor protein in it. So like broccoli, spinach, and mushroom, for example, all have protein. Now, plant-based sources, they're going to have healthy fats in them. They're going to be inexpensive generally. They're going to be higher in fiber. One thing to think about is they're not always that digestible. Some people have trouble digesting like seeds, for example, and sometimes they're not going to have all your amino acids, versus meat has all your amino acids. So you want to make sure that you are choosing different sources so that you're not only eating beans every day, but that you're eating beans and then lentils and then, Greek yogurt and things like that. So what protein source do I recommend? If you're a meat eater, eat the leaner options, eat more lean than red meat, and try and make some meals meatless. Honestly, like 1 meal a day, 1 day a week. Like I love doing like meatless Monday, for example, and eat lots of nuts and seeds in general. Those are really great sources of healthy fats and fiber, as well as protein, and are just a really great snack and protein source. Now, I know all of you too are, active, you're working out with a trainer in this program. So protein is really important for all of you as well, specifically because of the fact that you're just working out more, because protein is necessary for seeing results from your workout. It boosts your glycogen storage. Glycogen is the storage form of like glucose or carbs. So basically it fuels your gas tank. It repairs and rebuilds muscle proteins. So when we work out, we actually tear down muscle fibers. And in order to put them back together after a workout so that we continue to grow in the muscle mass, you need to make sure you're eating enough protein. So it's really important for not only growing that muscle, but also repairing it and maintaining it. So you want to make sure that you're getting at least 20 grams of protein to maximize your workout and results within an hour of working out. So you want to pair a protein source with a carbohydrate source. So for example, you could do a piece of toast, which is carb, with like peanut butter or eggs. You could do Greek yogurt, which will have protein and carb in it, with berries, which is a source of glucose as well. So you just want to really make sure that you are getting in enough protein. I will always have something kind of ready at home to grab and go really quickly, just so I don't have to think about it. So, shifting away from that, thinking of your journey with cancer, your body has been through a lot, in general, like I said earlier, physically, mentally, emotionally. And protein is important to increase energy, to make you stronger, to build up your immunity, to increase muscle mass. Because I know many of you want to rebuild that lean body mass that maybe you dropped during treatment. And if you lost weight during treatment, or maybe you gained weight, regardless, it can help you to regain that. This might sound like it's counterintuitive, but it can actually help you to regain weight or lose weight that you want to lose. Meeting your protein needs is so important for any goal that you have. And it really just overall supports your overall health, because as I mentioned, it helps to build antibodies, it helps your cells, it helps your GI tract, your heart function, helps us with everything. So how to get enough? You want to make sure that you are consuming protein at every meal and most snacks. You want to plan ahead. All of you are busy. I know that about you. So you want to make sure you're planning ahead. So do you have like trail mix ready? Do you have yogurt in your fridge? Did you make protein balls? Whatever it is, making sure you have those things ready to grab and go. You can also use a protein powder. If you need a recommendation for a protein powder, I can definitely send that to you. Just let me know. I'm happy to send that your way. Just email me using the contact info at the end and I'll send that to you. And this is really how you should envision your plate at most meals in order to really reach your nutrition goals and needs. So in order to think about this, like this should be how your plate is looking at both lunches and dinners. So for lunches and dinners, you want to make sure you're eating half your plate veggies, a quarter of your plate be greens, a quarter of your plate be protein, and then we have our healthy fat. So for the veggie category, any veggie goes. You can literally have any veggie on that side. We want to focus on whole grains, so like oats, brown rice, quinoa. We're talking about protein today, so I'm not going to go super into these, but the point of this is that you should make a quarter of your plate protein at all meals. So, and I like to say, don't make your food be naked. A lot of my clients, my women who want to like lose weight, for example, they'll have a salad, but there's not enough protein on it. So I would say, don't make it naked, pair it with a protein. I do have like a snacking resource as well. If you feel like you do need like ideas for snacks on my website that you can check out, tips for successful snacking. So just like protein ideas, there's a full list of like 20 options. I know many of you have already downloaded it, but just wanted to show that to you. All right, in conclusion, so you want to make sure that you are meeting your protein needs by having protein at every meal and most snacks. Consume lots of plant-based proteins and eat some meat if you're open to eating meat or if you like meat, and work with me to help you to make sure you're obtaining adequate protein. If you're not sure if you're eating enough or if you have questions, feel free to email me. All right, for those of you on the live call, I would love to hear your questions. And one last thing too is make sure to email me or follow me. I know many of you already follow me on Instagram, for example, but give me a follow. I post a lot of like recipes and ideas too, but I'm gonna put my email here. Who has questions? You can either yell it out, you can chat it directly to me.
I don't think I have any questions, but just thanks for the reminders. These are things already that I should know already, but it's a good reminder.
Good. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. And there's only a few of you on here today. Does anyone else have any questions or thoughts they want to share?
Allison, I don't either, but there's a lot going on in my neighborhood. There's like tree trimming and a lot
Oh
of
gosh.
but I just wanted to say thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
And,
Ruby.
I might be emailing you some questions, but right now, like my head is blowing up with all of these thoughts. So I just have to gather them and then email you, but I appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, of course. Well, if anyone has any questions, later on, just email me. Again, follow me for more support as well. I post a lot of recipes and things, but it was good to see those of you on here. For anyone watching the recording of this, I appreciate all of you in bettering your health, and I can't wait to talk to some of you soon.
Thank you, Allison. We
you.
appreciate it.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank
Bye.
you. Happy
Bye-bye.
Tuesday.
Thank you.
I don't think you did.